everyone, Edna Kimble, Edna Sells, and welcome to today's episode where we are talking about Tahlequah and things you need to know before moving to Tahlequah. And we brought our resident Annelise here. The reason we brought Annelise on today is Annelise has done that. She's moved to Tahlequah. So, and again, Annelise is on the sales team, so she is a realtor in our area. But you've been a world traveler.
Yes.
World
World, but most
recently
recently continental U.S.
Okay,
so,
continental
yes.
U.S. There you go. I knew there was a better way to say that. So, and so really what we want to do is for people who maybe find this on YouTube or have already researched the area and they're kind of thinking, do I, don't I? I just think that Tahlequah is one of those unique communities, but like in a good way. Mm-hmm. And there's just some things that I feel like people need to be aware of. So let's kind of jump in. First off, what did you think when you heard that Tahlequah is home of Cherokee Nation?
Oh, I knew that, just with family history, but the influence that Cherokee Nation has here and just how involved they are in the community, that wasn't evident to me. So coming here and just all of the events and the outreach and just seeing, everything that happens and takes place here in Tahlequah, with all of the different resources like the hospital and there's assistance for families and how that plays into real estate as well. If you're a Cherokee Nation citizen, I didn't know about that beforehand. So it's been really interesting, a huge learning experience just to see how much, the tribe does here. So
Absolutely. And it is estimated that over 700,000 visitors per year are coming specifically for something to do with the Cherokee Nation. So
Yes.
it really makes us a vibrant and active community because of their involvement. That sounds like it's two separate entities. We are Cherokee Nation. I guess that's the way to put it. So even though I'm Yoneg or white, my family is Native American, and I just feel like our entire community, because we are the home base for Cherokee Nation. So we're the capital of Cherokee Nation, Tahlequah is.
Yes.
But 700,000 people come, and that's everything from visiting for medical, visiting for maybe to trace their family, the historical aspect of it. And then my personal favorite is just really enjoying all of the richness of their what they have to offer. Everything from the spider gallery, the museums. I could just go on and on.
Cherokee National Holiday.
Cherokee National Holiday
brings a huge crowd and just different.
And I have to mention the casinos.
Yes, the casinos.
I don't personally go, but I have friends and family, and we definitely, it kind of makes us more of a resort town because of that. So
absolutely, tourism is huge, and Cherokee Nation has tapped into that as well. And just traveling events and the choir, that performs and just
their music.
All the time. Yeah. So it's a really neat thing to experience.
Absolutely. And really, I think just understanding how rich their heritage is and how that plays in, because actually they were here and then we came. So we're part of them because of that. So language, arts, their music, just everything they have, and I think it's just phenomenal. And we'll do a link below just for anyone who is curious about Cherokee Nation and what all those aspects are, because we could probably do an entire episode of just Cherokee Nations.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. And right now they're really leaning into their language, and they're actually looking for people who want to learn the Cherokee language and then teach it. Yes. My husband is actually a native speaker, and everyone in his family is. So they're excited that Cherokee Nation is putting so much time and energy into that. So
it's really important to keep those traditions, going for centuries to come.
And have you ever lived near or on a reservation? How does that? Because I think a lot of people who are not from here 10 years ago, we were not considered a reservation, even though technically we were, and we would get calls all the time of people questioning and asking about that. Did you have any concerns when you were moving here, or?
I didn't have any concerns, really about that, about boundaries or anything like that. It's just neat to see the involvement in the community, and I've just learned a lot. I haven't lived nearby a reservation, but I've seen other, cultural events and all throughout the years, and visited here when I was little.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
And I think one of the biggest misunderstandings is when people are thinking about moving from out of state, they're confused on, well, where can I live?
yes,
and it's all reservation.
Right.
So there is no boundaries on where you can live, or Native Americans live. I like to tease and say I actually live with a Native American. Or I guess the Native American allows me to live with them. So reservations, I think, in different communities, different demographics, or I'm sorry, different zones of the U.S. are completely different than what we have here in Oklahoma.
yes,
Yeah.
they are for sure different, like compared to New Mexico and places like that.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to make sure we covered that. So the second thing that I think most people don't really understand about Tahlequah is our outdoor lifestyle, the enthusiasm that we have
Yes.
for what we're also known as green country.
Yes.
And so we have people come in and they're thinking of Oklahoma as like the flat plains, and they're blown away when they get here and they see rivers, lakes, creeks, streams, just water everywhere, right?
And hills, beautiful hiking, valleys. I mean, just the different terrain that, again, people are always like, aren't there tumbleweeds or flat land or the cows everywhere? And yes, there are beautiful animals
some
everywhere.
pastures, but yeah. And so I remember that when you first came, you used the term of like the entire community is like one big wellness
Yes.
mecca, I believe, or something along those terms. And I was like, it kind of is. So
really
tell us what
is.
you have found, because you're actually a licensed yoga instructor also.
I am.
Okay.
Yes, I love yoga. I think everyone should do yoga. So coming here, I mean, obviously, just being outdoors, there's so much to do. Like you said, all of the water activities with the lakes and the river, get outside and run and hike and bike, all of those things. But if you're looking for places, for wellness, we have a wonderful like health food store downtown. We have tons of yoga studios and just teachers who teach
Are
around
you
town.
surprised by how many yoga instructors and studios and opportunities we have in such a small town?
Yes, I was blown away, and not just yoga, but fitness and overall. I mean, there's so many. Also, Cherokee Nation has their own fitness facility, and then the college NSU that's here, they have their gym. There's so many opportunities. We have a bunch of personal trainers everywhere, so you can come fit and stay fit, or come unwell and somebody will whip you into shape here. It really is a vibrant community, and not just that. There's running groups and hiking groups and biking groups. Yoga. We need a yoga group. I think we should
A
start
yoga
one.
group. There you
Yes.
go.
Yoga meetups.
Look for that. Look for that. Which now actually you have done on a very large scale, a
Yes.
yoga meetup. Tell us about that, because that is in our market also.
So at Sequoia State Park, which is on another one of the beautiful lakes,
A lake and
here.
a park and
there is a retreat that happens every year, or a couple of times a year actually, and yogis
I
from
didn't
all
know
over
that.
Oklahoma, not just this area, but from all over Oklahoma and other places, they come and just have a full weekend of intense training and meditation and if you're into ice plunges, those things,
All
and
the wellness.
breathing, everything that you could want is offered here. And so it's really cool just to see how in tune, people are with their bodies and wanting to spread that in the community. I think that's really, really neat.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I wasn't aware that the yoga convention is that, I don't know if that would be retreat, the yoga retreat. I didn't realize they did it more than once a year. I thought it was a big, and it's called the
Big
the
Om.
Big Om.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so it does happen quarterly.
Oh, quarterly.
But it doesn't
Okay.
always happen at the same site. So I know at least 2 times a year it does happen at Sequoia.
Okay.
But there's so many opportunities, not just there at that state park, but on the river, kayaking with yoga on the
Glad
banks.
you brought that up.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Paddle boarding, kayaking, Illinois River floating. I mean, you wouldn't yoga and float, but I guess you could do. They even have outdoor concerts at the river.
Tons. There's a music scene here that I wasn't aware of. So many musicians who perform at the casinos or at local, pubs. The nightlife here, you wouldn't think like, oh, it's Tahlequah.
Yeah.
But there are some really talented musicians in this community. And yes, they have a huge rock and roll event that happens out at the river. And just so many things. And artists are there as well.
Oh, that's
a lot
true.
of art in our community, not just with native art, but with everyone's art. Just
and I think we're extremely inclusive because of that. Do you find us Tahlequah to be very inclusive?
I do.
Yeah,
I really do. That was huge for me. I mean, I moved across the United States, to a town, and while I did know a couple of people here, I felt so welcomed by the community and just all of the events that were offered. There's always something happening downtown.
Yes. Now that is really, really true. And we'll put a link below that we do have a page on Facebook that's going to keep you posted what to do in Tahlequah. And there'll be a link below. It's a Facebook, join it and it'll kind of keep you updated. And then also we would love for you to post on there and help us keep everyone posted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's something new, I mean, I think there are so many things, but I just, about the yoga group that we need to create. But always an event happening. I mean, we have our huge crawfish fest that happens, and I was really surprised. So Crawfish Fest, those restaurateurs that host that, they're not from Tahlequah.
Correct.
There are so many people that I've met that live here, that love it here, that are from all over the United States that didn't have a background here. So it really draws just an interesting, eclectic group of people.
A crazy mixed up melting pot.
Yes.
And I love it.
I do too.
I personally have always preferred to live in a college town. And I think the small to medium works better for me personally. And, we found Tahlequah and we've never looked back because previously we moved a lot, which I know you have. Now, you were running from the law and that's why you moved so much? Or?
Yes. I mean, we're using a different name to keep me safe.
We'll blur you out.
Yes.
Change your voice and everything. Military family.
Yes.
Okay, so how many states have you lived in then?
5.
5. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And came back home to Oklahoma.
Yes.
But Tahlequah was not originally your home.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I was born in Tulsa. I love Tulsa, but it's a huge city. But I feel like here in Tahlequah, I have all the benefits of that big city. And, Fayetteville, Arkansas. I mean, those things are just a quick trip away. But Tahlequah offers so much, but then there's just so much around it. It's really a good central location too.
I'm really glad you brought that up. So Tahlequah, and this is one of my favorite things, is we're really right between Fayetteville, Arkansas, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, Bentonville. So we have 2 international airports.
Yes.
And pretty much anything you would need within an hour's drive. So if you don't really want to deal with the traffic, but you want to be able to have those aspects available, I think that's what makes Tahlequah so special.
It is.
The next thing is I feel like Tahlequah is an educational and medical hub.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
I would.
It kind of is shocking that such a small town of 17,000 people, we have 2 hospitals, like 8 clinics. We have the optometry school. We have the OSU osteopathic medical school. And then we're getting the new Cherokee Nation Hospital that's going to be 6 stories. Let's see what else we have. Healthcare facilities. We have a group of specialists, cancer, kidney specialists. It's just kind of shocking how much educationally wise you can come here and take care of, but then also the medical aspect of it.
Yes. I get phone calls all the time for people who come here primarily for their health care or a loved one does, and they're looking, to move here for that reason. And I think it's amazing just all that we have to offer. It makes me feel safe, knowing that all of these resources are nearby, but also
we do have a life flight also. Actually, I believe there's 2 life flights, and then 2 different ambulance services, which is just, again, Cherokee Nation, we've been blessed by being here because so much of their money they dump back into the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and we have, you're talking, emergency medical services, but also like our police force, and not just our police force, but the marshals, which are Cherokee Nation. It's really neat. Those are things that I didn't know all about before, but they have a huge presence here, and I just think it's really cool to have that nearby. So
Absolutely. And then number 4, small town atmosphere. I mean, we've talked about all these great, grand things and how we have all these visitors, but at the end of the day, I almost can't. I'm trying to think of last time I went to Reese's or Walmart and did not run into someone I know. I don't know that there's been a time. But I like that. I like when I go out to eat and I see people that I know, and, all of these events, it's just very comforting to know the people. Yeah.
huge. The community does a great job. All of the local, small business owners are so involved, and getting everyone together, it's great. It's not always amazing when you go to the grocery store and you see someone you know,
And
right?
your hair's in a messy bun and you have no makeup on and you see everyone you know.
Yes, but it is nice to be recognized and be able to say hi to somebody, because I didn't always have that living in a huge city, or if you are somewhere else, you won't get that. But
Right.
here, and even if you don't know anybody, I feel like everyone does a great job of making you feel welcome, or they're trying to get to know you. So if you stop into one of the local shops downtown, someone will be trying to get to know
Chat you up.
or you'll want to get to know them because you hear some really cool stories of people who have lived here their whole life, or they're new and starting something. So
And one of the things I do love about the small town atmosphere is the number or the amount of groups that you can join. Everything from type to nonprofits such as Help in Crisis. I mean, if pets, if wherever your heart goes and where you want any extra money to go, we have, or if you just have time, if that's the only thing you have, there is a group here in town that will fit that need, or we will help you start one. We love starting new groups here. It's just like, yoga, we're going to do that,
Yes.
And just because now being new, were you surprised by that when you came into Tahlequah?
I was. I did not realize just the number of ways that you could get involved. But I jumped on that, on board to join some groups, and even, book clubs and
Everything from, like, again, a tiny little
Yes.
book club to the chamber. You know, there is something for everyone. And that's what I would encourage everyone to go to the Facebook group, What to Do in Tahlequah. Go
Yes.
check out the Tahlequah Chamber page. Or, reach out to one of us if there's something that is near and dear to your heart and you're not finding it. Maybe we can help you make that connection or at least put you in touch with other like-minded people, and then you guys can launch your own. So, yeah.
It's funny, so there are ways to get involved and be, we have the Chamber of Commerce that has their monthly mingle. So you're right there, front and center with everyone
I love that.
in the community. But there's also groups that I found out about if you'd rather be more secluded, how to live off the grid.
Oh, yeah.
And different like Indian history and making arrowheads and,
Basket weaving.
Yes.
But then again, because we're so inclusive, we also have telequality and LGBT groups.
Yes.
So it really is just, it's got that small town, hometown feel. I love that. Love that.
Plenty of churches too to get involved with and shelters to volunteer at. There's opportunity everywhere.
So much, yes. And then I think we would be remiss if we did not discuss weather.
Oh,
Yes, we have weather.
yes.
We have weather. What was your surprise? I mean, obviously you were born in Tulsa, but having not lived there as an adult, what's been your biggest surprise with the weather?
So I moved back here from living in the Northeast, so it was so cold. So I was excited to have really warm days. But Oklahoma always keeps you guessing.
That is
So
the best
you
way.
could leave your home in the morning, as I do pretty early, bundled up because it's 20 degrees, and by midday, you're having to take off some layers because it is sun's out, it is hot. So never a dull moment, or just all of a sudden, here's a rainstorm, or that wind starts blowing. Watch out.
I think the famous historian Will Rogers, and Jill, is that correct? She's like, I don't know. I believe he quoted that if you don't like the weather in Oklahoma, stick around, it'll change very soon. You won't have time to get tired of it because it will change. Sunscreen.
Yes.
Sunscreen on any day. You just need to have it with you because you don't know even if it looks cloudy and rainy and cold, before the end of the day, it could be hot and dry.
It could. Sunscreen or a hat. Definitely have those sunglasses handy.
Oh, sunglasses. Yes, definitely.
Rain
Definitely.
boots.
Yeah. But I think that's why we're green country and everything is so beautiful and green. And this year, the leaves are glorious. Jill, our producer here, I take my phone ties to the office, cell phone. So any photos I take, she sees. So like on a weekend, if I'm out messing around, she sees those photos. And I had taken some selfies with this tree and they were laughing, but the tree looked like it was on fire. It was so gorgeous. Why I didn't just take a photo of the tree, I don't know. I just wanted to be in the photo, and I totally forgot about it until they were teasing me. They were like, oh, is that where you were taking selfies with the tree? But our trees really, they are glorious at this time of year.
Beautiful, beautiful fall foliage. Beautiful all the time. And so many picture-taking opportunities.
Oh, that's a good point. Instagram.
Yes.
We've got to be the Instagram capital of the world because there's always something to take a photo of.
Yes.
Yeah. But I also think it ties back to the outdoor enthusiast part, all of that kind of plays into why we have the rivers and the lakes and all of the hiking and camping and all of that. You just have to be prepared. And there are some excellent groups, hiking groups, that you can find online.
Yes.
And have you ever been to those?
I've not been to a hiking group, but I have gone on my own adventures
Okay.
hiking because there's some beautiful, beautiful spots. Like,
So there's some apps, and Tahlequah is involved in all of those apps. If you have a hiking app, and it'll tell you where you're at, where to hike, where the trailhead is, where you're at on that, how difficult, moderate, whatever. I look for moderate or beginner myself because y'all are serious when y'all say difficult. The first time I was like, oh, how difficult can it be? And I was like, they really mean it. So yeah. So anything else that we haven't covered that we might want to warn someone about, or should we save it for the next podcast?
ooh, I don't know about warn, I mean, but there's just so much to offer. The lakes we didn't really touch on a whole lot. There's so many. If you love to be on the water or look at the water like I do, we have beautiful lakes, Lake Tenkiller, and I didn't know this, they have a scuba diving group.
Yes.
Scuba diving school.
It's a big thing here because we
Yes.
have a sunken city. Did you know that?
I have heard rumors. I have not seen
And
it
we have a
myself.
sunken airplane too.
Ooh.
Yes, it's a national Air Force bomber jet. I'm going to get this all wrong, but they brought it here and purposely sank it so scuba divers could.
Explore.
Yes, absolutely. So definitely very, very vibrant. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a big deal. So,
Glad it
but
was a
somebody didn't watch one of our other podcasts or she would have known that, right? No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
I'm glad they sunk it on purpose because I also forgot to mention there are two small airstrips
Oh,
near
yes.
the lake as
Yeah,
well.
near the
so-
lake, there are fly-in communities or housing communities. So if and then we do have a small airport, municipal airport. So none of the big planes, but we can take up to a certain point. So,
Yes.
okay. Well, we are so glad you moved here.
am too.
Absolutely. I will put a couple of links below just for you guys so you can check things out on what to do in Tahlequah, and then also check out Cherokee Nation, their website, and all that they have to offer. And we're really pleased that you watched today's episode. Please like, follow, and share. We would like to get this out to everyone who has questions about the area. And if there's a topic or someone you would like to have on this podcast or see on this podcast, please reach out, let us know. We'd be happy to track them down or get information on the topic. And as always, thank you guys. Thank you, Annelise.
Thank you.